Dr. Random McCann was right. Your video really does start as stupidly as that. You need to work on your editing now, mate.
Too many people are scared of feminism. And by people, I mean men.
I wonder why, considering that they have pretty much attempted to remove our rights. They've shafted us in the courts. Take a pick, whether it be prison sentences or alimony or child support. They have completely and utterly tried to change the definition of rape and remove due process from the court so that you're now guilty until proven innocent. And let's not forget the endless witch hunts that are currently happening on Twitter. But you know what? Let's give you a chance, Ben.
Now, I don't mean that we're scared of feminism's aims. I mean that we're too scared, even if we're supporters, to nail our colours to the mast and say, yes, I'm a feminist.
So even male supporters are apparently scared of feminism. Is this because that they are afraid of somehow potentially going off the party line and being accused of being misogynists? Because remember, they're not feminists, they're allies.
Because whether it's seen as a woman's issue or...
That it is a woman's issue, even though they claim to be, all for men's rights and minorities' rights and gays' rights and transgender rights, even though we see very precious little of them actually trying to do anything for men's rights, minority rights, gay rights, trans rights, etc. The only thing they're interested in is to upholding their own power, to grab more power, to make the male-female dynamic that should be equal into another unbalanced mess in favour of them, feminists. Of course, anti-feminist women aren't going to be a part of this paradigm, but we'll still see about that. I think he mentioned anti-feminists. I can't remember exactly. It's been a while.
It makes you less of a man.
Nothing makes you less of a man. But when you're a self-hating, self-loathing white male who self-identifies as a feminist, that kind of makes you less of a human being. But I'm only joking. I'm just saying it makes you look pathetic, really. I mean, look, you could totally be a feminist and it won't make you less of a man. I don't know who's been saying that, but when you look at some of these people that feminism has indoctrinated and brainwashed into hating themselves, you wonder whether or not it does. But then again, that's just a rhetorical question, not meant to be answered.
It can be a really, really difficult topic to approach. We're trying to talk about gender discrimination when it doesn't really affect us.
All those examples before that I just mentioned, alimony, child support, prison sentences, domestic abuse. In America, there's no hotlines. In Canada, there's only one, I think. Or maybe in the whole of North America, there's only one hotline. One of my videos where I showed you, the audience, you, not necessarily you, Ben, I don't know if you ever saw that, a anti-domestic abuse pamphlet, or rather a leaflet, really, which is overwhelmingly female and in its approach, as in the people it's looking for. It only has one helpline for men, and most of the helplines that aren't necessarily just for men, they're usually grouping men and women together into young people and LGBT and religious kind of helplines. There's only one that is catered specifically for men, and the pamphlet itself, or the leaflet, don't crucify me for getting the name wrong, mentions specifically that you can be a prince by day, I'm paraphrasing, and a control freak by night. Stop it, look at yourself. As if the helpline is not just for victims, it's for the men who are the abusers, and that's wrong. And you're saying that there are no problems affecting men when it comes to gender? Acheson, please! How could he be so blind? It's so obvious that there are problems to do with gender for men.
So very often it's just easier to avoid completely. But we shouldn't be afraid to openly identify as feminists.
No, actually, the real phrase should be, we should not be afraid to not associate ourselves with being feminists, to say that we are not feminists. Because have you seen how the world works right now? If you're not a feminist, apparently you're now a misogynist who is against all kind of rights in the world. You know? Be that women's rights, gay rights, minority rights, whatever. You are a nasty, intolerant piece of shit to these people. Even though you don't have to be a feminist to believe in women's rights. I believe in human rights as an egalitarian, which means men and women and other stuff. Okay? I'm not a feminist because I don't agree with the way they go about these things, because, you know, it's not really about women's rights with them, and it hasn't been for the last 50 to 40 years, has it? At least not since every goal was achieved. So, can you see what I'm trying to say? Why men, 19% of people, don't want to be feminists? It's because of this authoritarian bullshit that they see every day on Twitter, in law, just out about in public. I've had friends who have ended all kind of contact and relationships with me because I'm not a feminist, and because they think I'm some kind of intolerant arsehole who doesn't like women, who's a rape apologist apparently. See, they have no problem identifying as feminists. I face quite a bit of opposition, despite the fact that I am of a majority, that if I ever come out and say that I'm not a feminist. How's that fair?
Yeah, feminism means different things to different people. But if you think about it, most of us probably have a lot of feminist views anyway.
I'm sorry, but believing in women's rights is not necessarily having feminist views. I think it's mostly common sense and being a very liberal person. I mean, that's like saying because you're pro-gun, you're a conservative. You know, these ideologies don't have a monopoly on these certain issues. Do you understand? It's kind of like religion. They don't have a monopoly on morality, just as much as atheism and free thinking doesn't have a monopoly on skepticism. Okay? You can... I know it's strange that a religious person would be skeptical of everything else but not of God, but you see what I mean. You know? Faitheists like Steve Shives, you know? How would you call them skeptical? Because they're certainly not skeptical of their feminism and their man-hatred. And he's a man.
If you believe in equal pay for equal work, you're a feminist.
No, I'm not.
If you think skill trumps gender and the best person for the job should get the job, that's feminism.
Whoa! Almost definitely not feminism, that. I've seen many feminists claim that if you've got a white guy or a woman, or a black guy and a white guy, and it doesn't matter if they've got the qualifications or not, the white guy should always be disfavoured and the other ones be favoured. And I'm a mixed race guy, and I find that to be stupid. The best qualified person gets the job, regardless of gender or race. Okay? And if you're a company that has a problem with recruiting minority people and women, maybe you should just take a look at your practices and try and see what's gone wrong, rather than enforce quotas. Just change the way you try and get people into the industry. Or maybe people just don't want to go into that industry. It's all about personal choice. So no, I am not a feminist.
If you'd rather be judged by your talents and not your looks, you're a feminist.
Again, not a feminist.
If you think women should have access to affordable birth control, if you think laws should change as society changes, and if you wouldn't want someone to tell you what you can or can't do with your own body, you're a feminist.
No, you are not a feminist just because you happen to have beliefs that you share. Again, this ideology does not have a monopoly on these things that you said, okay? This is stupid. This is faulty logic and reasoning, and you should be ashamed of yourself. And funnily enough, feminism is always obsessed with what me as a man do with my body. You know, I can't get drunk and have sex without being accused of being a rapist. I can't, man spread. I can't sit naturally because I've got balls, because apparently that's me oppressing women just by sitting down. Also, I can't talk to them about subjects without being accused of being a mansplainer. So apparently feminists aren't the ones who are concerned about what we say and what we do. Seems like the opposite to me.
If you wouldn't want to be pressured into settling down and having kids in your late teens or your early 20s, or if it would offend you to be given or not given a job based on your gender, well, this makes you a feminist.
No, it doesn't. It does make you a feminist. And also, who in this day and age is pressured to get married and have kids in their 20s? Hardly anyone. Hardly anyone is nowadays. This is not the 1950s anymore. This is not the Victorian era. Okay? Also, anyone would be pissed off that they're being not given a job based on their gender. This is what's happening to people all around the world, be they white and male and cis and straight, whatever you want to call them, or minorities such as myself. It happens all the time. These people get pissed off with it and sue the companies, and this doesn't make them feminists. Remember, other people are not feminists, and they're the majority. 80%, 72%, 71%, call it what you will. Increasingly, people are not becoming feminists, they are being egalitarians, or MRAs, or humanists, or MGTOW. Explain that.
And if you think that your daughters should have exactly the same rights as your sons, well, isn't that feminism?
Actually, it's feminism for your daughters to have more rights than your sons. Isn't that feminism?
The point is that feminism isn't bad. It's not about gender bashing. It isn't exclusive to women. And it doesn't deprive men.
See previously to what I just said.
We shouldn't be afraid to be feminist flag bearers.
We shouldn't be scared of not being feminists.
Because if you thought about it in terms of our views and not our actions, most of us would be feminists anyway. We're just too scared to admit it.
Now, if you were a normal human being and you judged a person based on their actions rather than their views, you'd find that not only does your worldview find itself based entirely in reality, you also find that feminism isn't all what it's cracked up to be, and that really, in reality, we're not all feminists, are we? I mean, considering the fact that despite the dictionary definition of the word feminism, we see these feminists do the opposite of what they tell us they are. But you know what? Don't let this shitlord tell you about this. Seek out the information for yourself. Go on YouTube, go on Google, go and look up the literature. Do what they tell you to do to educate yourself on matters that you can possibly understand because you're not a feminist. I'm not going to hold your hand. It's up to you. You're an individual. So anyway, this has been Charming Man 93. Like and share the video. Drop a comment. Subscribe to my channel. And until next time, I'll see you later.